The St. Lucia Trade Union Federation, TUF, has rejected government's offer of a lump sum payment in lieu of negotiations for 2016 to 2019. St. Lucia Seamoss is getting a foothold in the export market and cleaning up the environment, a corporate response. This is the CTV News. I am Natalie Fannis presenting. We begin with word that the St. Lucia Trade Union Federation has rejected an offer from the government negotiating team. It was for the TUF to accept what was described as a lump sum in lieu of negotiations for the 2016 to 2019 period. The TUF says after a process of consultation with its constituent members, it has been mandated to convey a position to the government negotiating team, the GNT. First, the TUF says that the GNT proposal lacked the elements of a proper proposal. It referred to a lump sum payment without proposing a figure. It then went on to reject the idea of a lump sum payment in lieu of negotiations for the period April 1st, 2016 to March 31st, 2019. The TUF has proposed that negotiations for the period 2016 to 2019 continue according to the established protocol. It wants to see a recommencement in January 2019 and a conclusion on or before March 31st, 2019. The TUF says it recognizes the employer's right to show benevolence to its employees by granting a bonus. It says, should the employer be so minded as to relieve the burden on its employees by granting a bonus, the Federation has no objections as long as it is not tied to the process of negotiations. The TUF says it is looking forward to working with the GNT and the employer in speedily concluding negotiations for the outstanding period. In more industrial news, the management of St. James Club, Morgan Bay, and the National Workers' Union, the NWU, have settled the industrial impasse at mediation level. Over 200 hotel workers employed with the company will receive $1 per hour increase on their existing salaries effective January 2019, with an additional 50 cents per hour increase during the period of the industrial contract. The workers will also benefit from 100% service charge and a lump sum payment as follows. Current employees with 1 to 5 years service will receive $500. Those with 6 to 10 years service will receive $700, and those with 10 years and over $1,000. The new industrial agreement makes provisions for upgrade in paternity leave, acting allowance, vacation, and compassionate leave. Implementation of the contract will be effective January 2019, pending the formal signing at the Department of Labor. In other news, Invest St. Lucia is encouraging investors to participate in its annual investor survey. For the past 3 years, Invest St. Lucia, ISL, has been initiating contact with local and foreign investors as part of efforts to capture information on their respective economic contributions to the local economy. The survey also seeks to identify challenges within the business environment that could help guide policymakers in their bid to make St. Lucia a more ideal place to do business. Given the feedback received thus far, ISL has been able to determine the impact of investments on the St. Lucian economy and has also been able to ascertain those challenges within the business environment that can be improved upon. Despite the responses from investors in the past, CEO Roderick Sherry believes that the results are not a true representation of the issues faced by business persons. It wants to see a greater participation in the survey. This year, the ISL says it is necessary to use a different approach to encouraging investors to provide critical information that will feed into a strategy for improving the business climate. Throughout January, several investors who have information and benefited as a result will be featured as part of a televised public awareness campaign to stimulate greater involvement in the survey. Export St. Lucia TIPA is once again making significant strides in increasing the volume and variety of agricultural products coming from St. Lucia. In December of 2018, a grouping of local Seamoss farmers made history by becoming the first to export sun-dried Seamoss from St. Lucia to the UK. The test shipment of sun-dried Seamoss, which was shipped to a buyer in the United Kingdom, was a resounding success. We get details in this report.
Export St. Lucia, TIPA, is once again making significant strides in increasing the volume and variety of agricultural products coming from St. Lucia. In December of 2018, a grouping of local sea moss farmers made history by becoming the first to export sun-dried sea moss from St. Lucia to the UK. The test shipment of sun-dried sea moss, which was shipped to the buyer in the United Kingdom, was a resounding success, with roars of approval chiming through. To the extent that the buyer has already expressed interest in a second order of the product in the coming weeks, as well as considering imports of a wider variety of agricultural produce from the island. In preparation for the shipment, exporter Kerwin Samuel from Total Health Food Services said that this new market has given sea moss farmers a renewed sense of hope, as they now have a bigger outlet for sale and distribution of their produce.
We are so happy that at least we got a market in the UK for the first time. The sea moss farmers are very excited about the market, hoping to produce much more sea moss now, better quality sea moss for the long run, so we look forward for this.
The Department of Fisheries, a key partner in the process, says it is delighted at the prospect. Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Thomas Nelson says that new and improved methods of sea moss farming will see farmers having greater and more consistent yields in time to come. In the meantime, however, he insists that proper methods and practices should be maintained.
We are in the process of continuous training, also providing support to the farmers in terms of, the farm husbandry practices, trying to strengthen the organizational capacity of the groups of the farmers, so that we can, assure the market that once they call upon the farmers for supply of sun-dried sea moss, it is going to be available and the quality is going to be of the highest.
CEO of Export St. Lucia TIPA, Sunita Daniel, indicates that this shipment is the organization realizing that there needs diversification in St. Lucia's agricultural export products.
We want to still support traditional exports, but we want to look at other exports of other commodities, and that includes agriculture. So there are a lot of commodities in agriculture that have a lot of export potential that we've not really been looking at, and for fisheries, sea moss is one of them.
All parties involved say they look forward to the solidification of this new outlet for sea moss farmers and anticipate good things to come with this success. For Export St. Lucia TIPA, Jason Darius reporting.
And now for some information from the Inland Revenue Department. Employers are asked to note that their tax packages have been mailed. The package contains a number of documents, including an employer's guide to completing the various forms for filing. Among them, a form to be completed for individuals who were employed during the year and another for those who were terminated. There is also a form for individuals who provided independent personal services. The employer's annual return with supporting documents must be submitted no later than January 31st, 2019. Any employer who fails to submit the employer's return will be penalized. Call the Inland Revenue Department if you have any queries. The Mecurator Art Gallery will on January 17th launch a Nobel Laureate youth art exhibition. The Mecurator Art Gallery is located at Masad Grosley within the compounds of the Star newspaper. The entrance is free. The Mecurator Art Gallery is staging its exhibition in collaboration with the Nobel Laureate Committee and the TVET unit. The art exhibition will be featuring work by young St. Lucian artists ages 16 to 20. This free event will be held at the Mecurator Art Gallery, Masad Grocery, on Thursday, 17th January from 7 p.m. Still in the arts, St. Lucian spoken word artist and teacher Alice Medar will on January 19th launch a book called Silent Screams. It will be launched at 758 Books, located at Gablewoods Mall. Last year, a number of corporate entities participated in major environmental projects, among them cleanup of plastics and other debris. The Windward and Leeward Brewery was one such entity. A 3-hour cleanup of the area around the Babonneau bus stop resulted in the collection of 50 bags of mainly plastic bottles.
Oscar Garcia, Managing Director for WLBL, DBC. And we decided to do a team activity, right? And we're committed to the environment as a company. What better way to spend the time actually giving back to the community? So today we partnered with the St. Lucia Fisheries, St. Lucia Solid Waste, and St. Lucia National Trust. in coordination to them to select an area where we could make a biggest impact, biggest difference. And where we are today is a very critical zone because this zone is actually has a lot of waste, is very high in waste. Okay, who's counting?
Who's counting?
4.
I have paper.
And also 4. All the waste here goes to a river, so we are preventing it from clogging. 6, 8. You know, it's hurricane season is behind the corner, and we wanted to actually help clean up before actually it's too late.
We can get the final count from everybody.
2.
Yvonne Edwin, Department of Fisheries, Information and Communications Officer. In doing the assessment of identifying an area to do the cleanup, because the brewery did reach out and wanted to know what area that would be of interest or one that they could target. This one came up because we had recently done a cleanup with the JICA volunteers, and we saw this area as a need, as well as BG and a number of other areas close to the beach. But we chose this area, and we have been engaging with the bus drivers who have taken personal interest in this. And I must commend the drivers who are seeing the need to maintain the area, and they are pointing out a lot of the times it is the persons who use the area that are throwing out the garbage.
Can you put that one back in? The leadership team is here today, and we're trying to make a big impact, make a big difference. You see, just in an hour we have collected so many bags already, and we still have more to do. So we're excited to spend our time helping back and giving back to the community. Wow. Mainly, there's a lot of PET bottles. There's a lot of glass bottles. There's a lot of carton. There's a lot of plastic bottles. Plastic cups. So that's mostly what we were able to collect for the most part.
As much as we've seen a lot of styrofoam, and maybe it's some of them, it's their direct action of just throwing things out, they have recognized that it's the commuters and persons using the area. There's a coconut vendor, and a lot of persons use this general area, coming from the cinema, coming from Mega J. It seemed to be a high-use area, and one where persons need, again, to be conscious and be responsible. I think if we teach children those values, if we are responsible citizens, we can do this together.
We are getting rid of all the plastic, and if we can get rid of the plastic bottles, the paper, the cardboard boxes, the wrappers, the straws, styrofoam.
It obviously is a call because it is one where plastic pollution is affecting the marine environment, and as a department it is something that we support. Within an hour, 2 hours, we were able to amass so much garbage, and predominantly what we are seeing in this area is a lot of KFC packaging, plastic foam, plastic bottles. Predominantly, like I said, it's a lot of bottled water, sodas, and another item that we've seen a lot of is oil containers. As to where it's coming from, how this area is concentrated with all of this garbage is mind-boggling, and one that we as St. Lucians need to take responsibility for. So whether it is that you are a commuter, you are somebody who uses this area, we have to be conscious of our garbage and conscious of what we do with our garbage. So this is one initiative that as a department we support it, but it is not the immediate action that we require in St. Lucia. It has to be one that is more drastic. As much as we bring in the message to the public and letting persons know that plastic pollution is affecting the marine environment, individually as citizens of St. Lucia, we need to take the necessary action to be conscious and responsible for our garbage. Again, we commend this corporate entity for taking this initiative, and we're calling on Corporate St. Lucia to do more exercises such as this one. It helps with your exercise. Getting out of the office to doing something for the environment is always commendable, and getting the children involved in voluntary efforts such as this one is another initiative individually as parents and household owners that we should take. Again, calling on St. Lucia to be responsible for our garbage, reduce the use of plastic, styrofoam, as it has a detrimental effect on the environment, and we need to be conscious.
22 plastic, 2 glass. And styrofoam 3.
200 plastic bottles.
Again, we need to keep St. Lucia clean St. Lucia is here for us. It is our country, and we need to be the stakeholders to ensure that we become a plastic-free society.
Okay, so my name is Tessa Innocent Bernard. I'm the Health and Safety and Environmental Manager at Windward and Leeward Brewery, also taking charge of integrated management systems. Currently, well, as you can see, we were well decked in our sneakers. It's sneaker day, and that's a big thing for us, health and safety. So everyone was equipped. It was an exercise both for health and also for the environment. So this initiative was to show the community that we also taking part in cleaning up. If you looked at the river, there were so many bottles out there, and you know, it burdened me because I can see that it was someone like me tossing those bottles out of the vehicles or coming to get a bus and dropping the bottles out there and it gets to the river. We want the public to be sensitized and to know that we will support them. We have many initiatives coming up. We have cleanups, more of these cleanups. We also have a recycling effort where we're partnering with other entities, and we want them to support us as well. We're leading by example, and we just want them to follow.
Plastic bottles, breakable bottles, we got some oil cans, we got some styrofoams, we got a lot of stuff. Yes.
These are the sort of initiatives and the sort of stories that we need to portray in the media.
I hear you. Well, the message to the general public would be, let us all get together and ensure that we keep the environment clean. And I think there are key persons in the public, key sectors in the public that can help in keeping the environment clean. I will get out.
Is it okay?
Yeah. This one comes out first. I'll get the cardboard just now.
CK Gastor and Sons Waste Disposal Services have been contracted to move the garbage from here to the Deglo landfill. He has been contracted by WLBL, and he saw a need that this is something that the environment requires, and he has discounted in terms of the service. And again, calling on corporate St. Lucia, calling on persons with trucks or services that they see fit or where they can be part of this drive. Any effort towards saving the environment and cleaning the environment are all commendable and those that we need to bring out in the public.
You ready? Yeah. You took it already. Fire. Okay, you next.
It is the hope that more community and corporate entities will join the fight against the widespread disposal of garbage. And that's our broadcast for tonight. I am Natalie Fannis.